B-21 is still years away, the U.S. Air Force has been careful not to broadcast details to protect its technology. Thanks to Northrop Grumman's $23.5 billion first investment, we know that up to date a second B-21 is moving down the production line. This heavy bomber is expected to be the most advanced long-range strike aircraft ever conceived. So let's discover the prize for its best features and the leading Russian competitor, PAC-DA nuclear bomber. The plane was originally meant to fly as early as December 2020, but that forecast was best-case scenario, and that first flight in mid-2022 is now a good bet. Given the traditional 6 to 9 month period of outdoor ground testing in advance of any first flight by a new aircraft, the updated schedule still implies a strong chance of a factory rollout during the second half of 2021. Much of the technology has been repurposed from other programs, such as using the same Pratt & Whitney engine found on the F-35 fighter. B-21 was conceived to overcome all the current heavy bomber fleet deficiencies, which consists of 157 aging Cold War aircraft. It will particularly have the range, payload, strike features, and survivability to address every category of potential target, including deeply buried or time-sensitive mobile targets inside China. The basic logic of the design is that if the B-21 is to be an effective deterrent to all forms of aggression, then it must hold at risk every asset valued by any adversary. The B-21 Raider, as it was designated in 2016, will provide the Air Force with unprecedented survivability and versatility over very long ranges in support of both conventional and nuclear missions. Based on the new renderings, the B-21 has a more abrupt shine line on its forward-leading edge and lacks the more steeply sloping sides that blend the top edge with the fuselage found on its predecessor, the B-2. Compared to the four-wheel landing gear on the B-2, the B-21 has two-wheel designs that reflect the Raider's lower gross weight and smaller overall size than the Spirit. As we know, the B-2 Spirit is one of the famous strategic, long-range, heavy bombers designed during the Cold War. The aircraft's leading edges are angled at 33 degrees, and the trailing edge has a double W shape. The B-2 is capable of all-altitude attack missions up to 50,000 feet, with a range of more than 6,900 miles on internal fuel and over 12,000 miles with one refueling, giving it the ability to fly to any point in the world within hours. In 2014, the U.S. Air Forces outlined a series of upgrades, including nuclear warfighting, a new integrated processing unit, the ability to carry cruise missiles, and threat warning improvements. The total procurement costs averaged $929 million per aircraft, including spare parts, equipment, retrofitting, and software support, while the total program cost for B-2 averaged $2.1 billion per aircraft in 1997. The B-21 is being assembled at a secure government-owned, contractor-operated facility known as Air Force Plant 42 near Palmdale, California. Plant 42 has over 3 million square feet of industrial space and is near Edwards Air Force Base, where the bomber will undergo flight testing. As we know previously, Northrop Grumman's production contract for 100 B-21 bombers was worth $55 billion in 2012. Currently, the service requested $2.8 billion for the plane's research and development in fiscal 2021 alone. The Air Force plans to spend about $300 million on military construction projects for the B-21 in fiscal 2022 and $1 billion over 5 years. The Air Force has said it plans to procure around 220 bombers overall, 75 B-52s and the rest B-21s long-term. What do you think about such program spendings? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Suppliers across the country are actively delivering parts to Palmdale. Spirit Aerosystems will manufacture the structural components. Pratt & Whitney will build the engines. BAE Systems will supply electronic defenses, and Collins Aerospace will provide flight controls. Representative Whitman had also revealed that Northrop Grumman had already created a full-scale, non-flying Iron Bird systems configuration model of the B-21 to help with the aircraft's development. It is also very likely that the company has used other aircraft of pre-production test articles for risk reduction work in the past. As the U.S. Air Force's #1 priority is to modernize the nuclear force, the B-21 will be a crucial component of the nuclear triad pushing boundaries in hardware technologies, like stealth and agile software development, to replace the famous B-1B Lancer. The B-1B Lancer is a Cold War supersonic bomber of the U.S. Air Force. It takes around $415 million in 2018 to manufacture this aircraft by Rockwell International. The aircraft carries a crew of 4 members and has the largest internal payload bay of any bomber. The maximum internal weapons payload is around 75,000 pounds, and external is nearly 60,000 pounds. With all of these weapons, it can reach a top speed of 900 miles per hour. Raider will replace B-1B Lancer and Northrop Grumman's B-2 Flying Wing in the penetrating part of the strategic nuclear mission assigned to heavy bombers. That means it will be wired from day one to carry the B-61 variable yield nuclear gravity bomb and the long-range stand of nuclear cruise missile. However, it will debut as a conventional bomber capable of employing a diverse collection of smart weapons, such as Boeing's GPS-guided Joint Direct Attack Munition, which glides long distances to its targets. The B-21 is only one part of a family of strike systems. The Air Force conceived Raider as one piece in an overarching architecture of systems designed to support long-range strike missions. That family of systems, as the Air Force calls it, includes airframes, munitions, reconnaissance systems, electronic warfare platforms, and resilient communication channels. Despite its links to various off-board systems, the B-21 will have the ability to shut down all external communications and carry out strike missions autonomously. The Air Force plans to acquire a new long-range fighter, known as FX, or Next Generation Air Dominance, that would accompany the B-21 Raider deep into enemy territory. The new fighter, of which few details are known, would help the bomber survive enemy air defenses. Boeing unveiled an updated FA-XX 6th generation fighter concept in April 2013. The concept is a tailless twin-engine stealth fighter available in manned and unmanned configurations. It has canards, which usually comprises the frontal radar cross-section, but the lack of a tail emphasizes all aspect stealth. It also has diverters, supersonic inlets similar to F-35. The manned version seems to have restricted rearward visibility without the aid of a sensor. The new fighter jet is expected to have a stealthy design with a high-energy laser capable of cutting enemy aircraft in half. Directed energy weapons, such as lasers or microwaves, can be fired quickly, precisely, and with a nigh-limitless magazine capacity given sufficient electricity. The U.S. Air Force envisions 3 categories of airborne DEWs: lower-powered lasers for disrupting or damaging enemy sensors and seekers, a mid-level tier capable of burning incoming air-to-air missiles out of the skies, and a high-power class capable of destroying aircraft and ground targets. Under the NGAD program, the USAF aims to develop advanced capabilities such as connected air warfare systems, including fighter aircraft, drones, and networked platforms. In that case, the fighter jet could join the USAF earlier than the planned 2030 timeline. Talking about B-21 competitors, Russia is striving to be ahead. The Russian Air Forces recently presented 3 prototypes of its next-generation nuclear-capable strategic bomber, dubbed PAK-DA, citing a research and development contract between the Russian government and Tupolev Design Bureau signed at the end of 2017. Contrary to earlier speculations, the bomber will reportedly be manned by a crew of 4. PAK-DA preliminary tests are scheduled for April and are expected to be concluded by the fall of 2025. It is estimated that the new aircraft will have an operational range of about 12,000 kilometers and travel at subsonic speed. Furthermore, the new 5th generation PAC-DA bomber will be able to carry a 30-ton weapon payload with nuclear-capable air-launched cruise missiles, air-to-air missiles, and air-launched hypersonic weapons. So whatever the actual prospect schedule for that first flight might be at the moment, hopefully we will begin to learn more about America's next stealth bomber soon, after years of extreme secrecy. We hope you enjoyed revealing some insights about the